If you're familiar at all with really any level of American history, like first grade level stuff, I'm sure that you've probably heard of the Wright brothers. The inventors of the airplane, two legends of American history, whose pioneering invention helped revolutionize travel, and warfare too. But those aren't the Wright brothers I'm talking about today. No, this video will discuss a very different and far, far less beloved group. That being the rock band from the mid-2000s, also known as the Wright brothers, without the W.
At least, that is in their name. Where these guys lack W's, they sure as hell made up for it in support for the man himself. This band's entire purpose was to promote and propagandize for the regime of President George W. Bush. If you've heard anything from them, it's probably their incredibly infamous track, Bush Was Right, from their album No Apologies. This is one of those just famously terribly aged songs. I mean, can you think of anything that's aged worse than bragging about the Bush economy? That's like they agreed to be the second or maybe even third worst thing that happened during his time in office. Let's take a step aside from a second from the music itself and wonder who these people are. Who possibly made this music?
Part 1. Who are they? In 2004, Frank Hyland and Aaron Singh got together in Nashville and decided to start a band. Yeah, if we listen to anything from their, let's just say, notable album No Apologies, which in fact they do apologize.
We apologize to the ones we missed.
The first thing that sticks out is the obvious sonic comparisons to Green Day, even down to the voice they try to copy Billy Ray Armstrong. But if you look anything even further back to any album they made before this, which literally no one on Rate Your Music has ever listened to, except now me apparently, you can quickly realize that their initial soundscapes fit pretty well in the country music city, which is not surprising for a Nashville band. The pivot to pop-punk was just that, a pivot to popular music at the time. If you even piece it together, yeah, these guys were basically the Tom MacDonald of the 2000s, with one key difference. They're actually pleasant to listen to.
Let's look at the stats. I've got the facts. My money like Lizzo, my pockets are fat.
Come on, the vocals, terrible. The mixing, terrible. The beat, terrible. You could replace this guy with AI and the 5 Facebook boomers still listening to him just wouldn't notice. Let's be honest, this is incredibly easy music to make, and you can tell from how it sounds. I cannot say the same thing about what the Wright brothers were doing. No matter how awful this is, there's a level of charm and soul and authenticity to it that you just don't find in this modern, political propagandistic music sphere. It just isn't around anymore, and that sucks. And another thing, this is just fun music to listen to. It's not even that it's good, because it really isn't. It's just fun sounding. This is an enjoyable piece of music to listen to. I mean, hear this riff. Come on, that could totally put a smile on your face if the lyrics were about literally anything else. Unfortunately, they aren't. And it is incredibly strange how upbeat sounding this whole album is, given that it's about the Iraq War. But let's also just look at this beyond that. It doesn't sound serious. These lyrics are objectively hard to take seriously. Let's listen to this!
France, wrong. Sell Miller right.
It's really hard to listen to that and not wonder if any of this is satirical. I totally understand looking at this today. I mean, the Bush administration's looked at as a universally agreed upon mistake. I don't even think the most conservative Republican today would try and defend it. Hell, the people you do see with positive thoughts about it are Democrats nowadays. But you have to remember the time that this came out. This was 2005, and Bush had just been reelected in a shock victory. He won the popular vote. That neoconservative flavor of the Republican Party was genuinely on top of the world. They just solidified their control of the White House for another 4 years, made some insane gains in the Senate, and somehow won more seats in the House. This was the dominant ideology at the time, no matter how crazy it looks today, where people looked at Dick Cheney's death as almost a good thing. Ideas just greatly change over time. I'm sure that in a couple of decades, people will look at any of the music that came out today and think it was a joke. And it goes even beyond the MAGA rap Tom MacDonald stuff. I mean, listen to that Eminem freestyle from 10 years ago. You know the one.
That's an awfully hot coffee pot.
Not even 10 years later, we can look at that and see how horribly it's staged and how ridiculous it was. Any political music, or at least 90% of it, is bound to age horribly. Values change, and so can the economy. I still can't believe this is a real bar in a song.
Unemployment staying down. Democrats are wondering how revenue is going up. Can you say tax cuts? Bush was right.
It's undeniable that time has not been kind to this band. I think we have one question left, and I'm going to hand it off to Coxbarrow to ask it. really know. As of 2011, which is a pretty long time ago by now, the Wright brothers are over as a musical project. The members have since retreated fully into the private sphere, kind of forgotten, with an almost inconceivable split between monthly listeners and plays on their hit songs. It's hard to imagine a band with 300 listeners nowadays ever was this big, because they were genuinely notable back in the day. Can you name a single other artist this small with its own Wikipedia page? Actually, forget it. Look what it says there. They opened for Sean Hannity. Millions of people watched that guy's show. The two brothers have since resigned to their private lives. We knew little about them when they were big, even important enough to get ranted out on major news networks, but there's just nothing on them today. Not even a public social media account claiming to have been affiliated with the band. They're gone, and I'm sure they're probably mortified looking back at it. This album cover sitting on their shelves like the Green Goblin mask. If any of this means something, I think it's the context that can frame political music. There's a reason why so little of it sticks around for good. At least it is music about specific politicians, not issues. We still talk today about all sorts of politically charged songs from bands in the 60s. The Goldwaters are not one of them. Writing a song, or really any piece of media targeting a specific politician, is just dooming whatever you created to irrelevance and satire allegations 30 years down the line.
But at the end of the day, no matter what happens, I think that there's one thing that has aged very well and carries over from this era. And that is, of course, that nobody has liked Lindsey Graham ever.
Lindsey Graham and Olympia Snow belong in the zoo with the other